Hello, my friends. I hope you're taking some time to read through the book, Joining Jesus on His Mission, and are taking some time to think about some of the points that the author is making and how they might help us individually and as a congregation reach our community, reach our neighbors, reach our world with the gospel. I want to take just a minute and kind of reflect on the last couple of chapters, chapters 6 and 7. Chapter 6 is both one of the most sort of obvious and also one of the more challenging chapters for me. First, a story. I was at a conference a number of years ago talking about reaching out to people who weren't part of the church yet. I was visiting with another church professional, and we were talking about the people that we knew, the people that we were around. And I started mentioning a number of people that I knew that I'd spent time with who didn't go to church, who lived a wildly different lifestyle perhaps than what we expected, who weren't Lutheran, obviously. And the other person looked at me and said, "Wow, how do you know all these people?" Well, first of all, I was involved in kids' school things. Renee is a very social person, and just got to know people and got to meet people in the community. They weren't, as I said, all churchgoers. They weren't all Lutheran, obviously, and they weren't certainly all Christian. But I like spending time with them. Would I like them all to know who Christ is and what He has done for them? Absolutely. And they all knew I was a pastor. They all know I'm a pastor. And so from time to time it comes up, and when it comes up, we talk about it in whatever way seems right, and every now and then something comes out of it that's truly substantial. But that's not why I like to be with them. We have a task as God's people, and that is to share the love of Christ with the whole world. And as we do that, we sometimes get distracted either by two things. Either we get distracted by making that the only point of why we talk to people, which is not good. Or we get distracted by the thought that all the people that we know are already going to church, or already Christian, or maybe even already members of the congregation that we go to. I think we owe it to ourselves to be involved in our world, to get to know people, to be a blessing to them in whatever way that we can, and to watch for those opportunities when we can share the love of Christ in word or in deed with them. These chapters make us look around us a little more closely, to be intentional about spending time with people. Not just so that we can coerce them into coming to church, but we can't tell them about that if we're not with them. Jesus hung out with people all the time, and when the time was right, He was able to talk to them about what it meant to be one of God's people. And I'm sure it didn't happen every time He had dinner with somebody. I'm sure it didn't happen every time that He was walking along the road with someone. But when it came up, He talked about it. Who are you spending time with? How might you be a blessing to them? And how is the Spirit leading you when the time is right, when the opportunity arises, to talk about the love of Christ and why that's important to you? God be with you. I hope this book is challenging you a little bit. We'll talk again in a few days.